Hello guys, welcome to a new video. In this video we are going to compare between dgVoodoo and nGlide. So without any further ado, let's start our video. First of all, we'll compare the installation process for both of these wrappers. So let's start with nGlide. For nGlide installation, you have to just install using the setup exe provided from the website. After you open the file, click on the install option. It is now installed. Now for dgVoodoo, you have to open the zip file, go to the 3dfx x86 folder, copy all the DLL files and copy it to your game directory. We will be taking Need for Speed 2 as an example. Also, you have to copy the configurator, which is dgvoodoo.cpl.exe, to your game folder. So now if we compare between both of these, then nGlide is a universal solution, whereas dgVoodoo is a single game solution. So if you want to use dgVoodoo for all the games, it is not possible at one time. You have to copy the DLL files one by one. So in that respect, we will see that nGlide has an edge over dgVoodoo in universal glide mode. So now we'll compare the configurator for both of these programs. Let's start with nGlide. In nGlide, you are getting options for video backend, screen resolution, aspect ratio, refresh rate, vertical synchronization, gamma correction, and 3dfx logo splash screen. Now for dgVoodoo, you are getting another option for 3dfx card, which is not available in nGlide. You are also getting option for selecting your onboard RAM. These two options are simply not available in nGlide. Apart from that, you are also getting option for memory size, number of TMUs, which are some specific video card features. Now if you compare the similar options for both of these wrappers, you will find resolution in both of these wrappers. Apart from that, you are getting option for brightness, color, contrast, glide gamma ramp, then 3dfx splash screen, 16-bit dead buffer, which is not available in nGlide, vsync, which is available in both of these, 3dfx watermark. Then you can also disable whip mapping and linear filter in dgVoodoo. So in that respect, we will see that the dgVoodoo configurator has more options in comparison to the nGlide configurator. So here dgVoodoo wins over nGlide configurator without any confusion. So now we are at a position of 1 point for each. So now we'll compare the video backends of both these wrappers. For nGlide, we have the DirectX and Vulkan API, whereas for dgVoodoo you have only the DirectX 11 API. So if you compare both the backends of nGlide and dgVoodoo, then you will see that the DirectX 9 API of nGlide emulator performs better in comparison to the DirectX 11 API of dgVoodoo. This is because DirectX 9 is an old API and will use less resources in compared to DirectX 11, which was released for Windows 7. So we can simply understand that dgVoodoo is not compatible on operating system before Windows 7, whereas nGlide is compatible on all systems supporting DirectX 9. Moreover, you can see that the Vulkan API is present in nGlide, which will provide you with good game performance if you have a good graphics card and a less powerful CPU. So if you are using a system that bottlenecks in many other games, then you can use the Vulkan API, which will remove many CPU usage to your GPU. However, you do not get such option in dgVoodoo and does not give any option for Vulkan API. So here you can see that the nGlide emulator will also beat the dgVoodoo emulator. So here we have a lead for 2-1. So now let's compare the other compatibility features of both these emulators. We'll start with some video games like NFS2. Let's start with the dgVoodoo emulator as we install the DLL files in the game directory. In order to open NFS2 with dgVoodoo or Glide API, you have to open the nfs2 sea.exe. So the game is running on dgVoodoo. I will also turn on MSI Afterburner so that you can see the GPU and CPU usage. Okay, the game crashed, so let's start again. Let's decrease the sound.
2, 1, go!
You can see that the GPU sits at 24 to 30% usage, whereas the CPU sits at 5% usage. So this is the kind of performance you expect on dgVoodoo. So now we'll compare it with the nGlide with the DirectX 9 API. So now we'll delete the DLL files so that we can use the nGlide emulator. So you can see that the resolution is at 640 by 480. So we are going to change the resolution first so that there is no discrimination in the comparison. So I'll choose it 1920 by 1080. So now let's start it, and we'll select DirectX. So let's start. You can ignore the RAM usage because I am running a lot of tasks on the background. So now you can see that the GPU sits at 10 to 12% usage, whereas in dgVoodoo you can see that the GPU sat at 25 to 30% usage, and CPU sits at 5 to 7% usage, which is very close to the one we saw in dgVoodoo. However, it is more than dgVoodoo, but we got a significant decrease in the GPU usage in nGlide. So here we can see that the nGlide will perform better on a low-end PC, as you can see by the GPU usage, which is the main display component of your PC. So now we'll exit this game again and we'll check out the Vulkan API. So you can see that the GPU usage increased on Vulkan API as I told earlier, and you can see that the CPU usage also decreased and it is now sitting at 2% to 3%. As I told earlier, you can use the CPU for some other work if you are using the Vulkan API, as it is very less CPU intensive. So dgVoodoo is losing to nGlide in this respect, as nGlide provides you options for both low-end PC and also for PCs with good graphics card and low-end CPU. So we have compared the CPU and GPU usage part, and also we are starting to compare the compatibility part. You can see that the nGlide and dgVoodoo emulator both are sitting at a similar compatibility, as both can run the same game. So now we'll try another game, like we can try NFS3. For NFS3 I have to set the disks to my CD drive. Okay. So we will be starting with dgVoodoo. And we have to change the registry for using 3D effects on Need for Speed 3. I've already created a video for this. If you have not watched it, you should watch it, as it will provide you with a lot of other information about running this game on modern operating system. So now let's run it. The video actually did not run, so I have to check the settings again. Okay, I will be turning off anti-aliasing because we have to do apples to apples comparison. So let's start again. So we are getting the video again. We'll not be changing the graphical settings for the game. We'll use the default settings provided. So here you can see that the GPU just sits at 18% and the CPU sits at 3 to 5%. Also you can see that the game is running in a windowed mode, but I don't know why it sometimes happens when you use dgVoodoo on this game. So I think this is a game bug rather than a wrapper bug, but we will be comparing with nGlide and see how that works out. So you can see the GPU just increased with the maximum of 30%. Now it is at 32%. So we'll be comparing with it and nGlide now. So for nGlide we have to delete the dgVoodoo DLL files again. We are configuring it for DirectX 9. So now let's start. Okay, the game is running on Direct 3D11 again. I think I did not delete the files properly. Oh yes, I did not delete the DirectX files. So we'll start again. Okay, so we got an exception code error. Let's check out the registry again. So here you can see that the nGlide is not compatible with the NFS3 game, and it is giving you an error for an exception problem. So we'll see if the game works with the DLL files provided by the nGlide software. So we'll search for glide in the Windows folder. So these are the files. We'll copy it to our NFS3 folder. Now let's try again. So we get the same problem again. So in this comparison we can see that dgVoodoo had better compatibility in comparison to NFS3. So now we'll try out another game, like we can try out Quake this time. So we'll install the dgVoodoo files there, and we'll also install the configurator. So now I'll configure the game for using the Voodoo 1 graphics card, because this was the one which was supported by the game at that time. I will not be changing the resolution and will use the default resolution for both the emulators. I will also disable gamma ramp and 3dfx watermark and also vsync. So now let's try the game. The game actually ran, but I cannot see anything here. Okay, we can see that Quake is not compatible with dgVoodoo, so we'll use nGlide now. But before that we have to shut down the game. So we are shutting it down with the command prompt. Okay, now we'll check with the nGlide emulator. The game actually froze here. So I don't think it is possible on nGlide 2. Let's try again. I'm actually unable to see the command prompt, so I am writing blindly now. So GLK did not function for both of these programs. So we'll try out a last game, NFS High Stakes. For NFS High Stakes, I earlier made a video in which we saw that the game performed well on both the emulators. So let's see if we have any other game that we can try out. Okay, we can try out Half-Life as the last one. So here we will configure the game for using glide. For that you have to go to video mode, go to OpenGL, select OpenGL driver as 3dfx mini driver. You can set any resolution. I will be setting a lower resolution. I will set 1280 by 960. Okay, the game says that the OpenGL mode we selected is not supported by the game. So nGlide did not work in this game also. So we'll try out dgVoodoo now. I am not sure if it will work here too, but we'll try a lower resolution. Let's see.
Hello and welcome to the Black Mesa.
Okay, we can see that the dgVoodoo emulator can run the game Half-Life without any problem.
Hazard course, where you will be trained in the use of the hazard
However, if you select escape, the game will become
environment
white.
suit. I am your holographic assistant. Let's begin by stepping into your suit. You can see it suspended up ahead of you.
So we can see that dgVoodoo is somewhat compatible with Half-Life. As a last measure, we will check out if the glide files work in Half-Life. For that, we'll go to the Windows directory again. Here, we will search for glide. Copy these files and paste it in the game directory. Since we will not be using dgVoodoo, we can delete the dgVoodoo control panel files.
Welcome to the Black Mesa Hazard course, where you will be trained in the use of the hazardous environment suit. I am your holographic.
However, you can see that this game also performs well on the nGlide emulator if you copy the files from the Windows directory to your game directory. But similar case with dgVoodoo, as the game crashes when you
Assistant.
click on
Let's
escape
begin
button.
by stepping into your suit.
So we'll exit the game now. We'll try out one last thing. We'll be setting the resolution to default in nGlide. So now let's try.
And welcome to the Black Mesa Hazard Course.
Here we have the resolution properly, but similar case with dgVoodoo again, we find the game to halt when we select the escape button in order to exit the game.
You will be trained in the use of the hazardous environment.
So here we got that the dgVoodoo API supports one game more than nGlide API. So now we can see that the dgVoodoo API has better compatibility in comparison to nGlide emulator. So now we have a comparison, and in that points table we have 2 for both the emulators. So now if we see another aspect of both the emulators, we can see that the dgVoodoo emulator has an option for selecting DirectX, whereas in nGlide emulator you don't have that option. So if you want to include this in your comparison, you can include it. However, you can leave it if you want, if you just want glide emulation in both the softwares. But if you include a DirectX feature of the dgVoodoo emulator, you will see that the dgVoodoo wins by 1 point over nGlide, and if you leave it, you will see that both the emulators are at 2 points, where both the emulators are better in their own way. So if you keep it on 2 points, we can say that the nGlide and dgVoodoo emulator will suffice you in your own way. If you want better performance, you can go with nGlide, whereas if you want better compatibility, you can go with the dgVoodoo emulator. So this was the comparison between nGlide and dgVoodoo, and it is the end of the video here. Thanks for watching the video. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and as always I will see you in the next video.